It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm so excited today. We're doing a roundtable discussion. Today we have three special guests, Nadia Santiago, Lisa Decker, and Sarah Fleming. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Sure. Thanks for having us.
So all three of my guests, plus myself, we are all trainers. We're all fitness trainers. So we're going to sort of talk fitness, health, strategies, different ways that we have been successful in the past, helping our clients or ourselves, and just kind of, exchange ideas. So I'm super excited about this. So first, let's just go around and each of you introduce yourself. Nadia, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I am a trainer in the South Bay, California. I'm in San Jose. I teach out of a few studios here in the area, but I just recently, actually, when shelter in place hit, decided to launch my online training business. So I'm super excited to be here.
Nice. And Lisa, introduction for the crowd.
So my business, Aligned Fitness, has been moving all around during these crazy times, but I'm in Los Gatos. I do some online and remote work. I also work out of a facility in Santa Clara. I don't do a lot of training these days. I work mostly with people in pain, more of a physical therapy corrective exercise approach.
Nice. And Sarah.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I've been a strength coach and a personal trainer for the past 12 years. I have kind of a weird eclectic business where I train strength athletes and I also train regular folks. I'm also an online professor for the International Sports Sciences Association. I wrote one of their certification courses on group fitness, and I also teach math and chemistry. I've coached just about everything, including cross country, lacrosse, powerlifting, weightlifting, because it basically all comes down to good movement and good progression.
Nice. Awesome. So my first question for everybody, bare bones, foundational, what is the first thing in your mind that somebody needs to do to get healthy?
They need to move.
Nice.
They need to move regularly. I have a lot of folks always want to come in and go hard and heavy and, think they need to kill themselves, but it's like, just get in the habit of getting up out of your chair and moving regularly. If you have a job where you sit all day, get up and walk around every hour. Try and get in the habit of going for a walk a couple times a day, but that is the keystone to your health and wellness. So you've got to start there.
Yeah, I like that. And also not only movement, but I like what you said about moving well, because if something hurts or something doesn't feel right, you want to address why. And not just, power through it. There was this saying for so long, no pain, no gain. I don't truly believe that. I believe, sometimes you got to listen to the pain and find out why it's there and address that so that the movement then becomes functional.
Yeah, I totally agree that one of the best ways to get started is to just start moving. Like you said, Sarah, people start going too hard, too fast. They always want to jump in and do everything all at once. But sometimes, keeping it simple is the best. I always think about my grandmother, and whenever she wants to start moving again, she'll take a walk around the block. And she lives in Massachusetts, and there are hills everywhere. So a walk around the block is like a hike. For her. And so then for the next week, she's completely done. So I told her, next time, why don't you start by walking around the house a few times, take a few loops, and it can be just as simple as that,
Yep, absolutely. One step at a time, right? I do have a question for all three of you. and it's more personal. It's more about whether or not you have ever been in a situation where you were starting from zero. Maybe you let yourself go, or maybe you had a big injury or something like that, and you had to take that first step in fitness. And what was that like as you were progressing?
Well, that's never happened to me, Chris.
Sure.
No, I mean, I've gone out too hard. We talked about that on our last interview. I decided I was going to do this crazy, 100-mile ultra endurance race, and that did me in a little bit. And after that, I really did have to take a step back and look at my life and how fast I progressed, and why was I doing that? Why did I feel like that was necessary? And I started over. And really that's when I got into some of the stuff I do now, which has been great, which is more of the mind-body approach.
I agree with that. I've done quite a few strength competitions, obstacle course races, that kind of thing. In my last interview, I told Chris I competed in the lightweight Highland Games World Championships in February, and I didn't know I was competing till 2 weeks after Christmas, and I had to drop 20 pounds in 5 weeks. And so I've learned from experience that the first thing I have to do is just give myself some mental time to sort of like, just, the reason you don't want to go to the gym is because you're burned out, and you need to give yourself a break, a mental break, So first thing I try to do is get back to just walking. And then I learned the hard way, my body does not like to jump back into heavy training, even if, I may have been, squatting 200 pounds a week before competition. I can't go back to that. I have to start with just the bar. And I have to take it nice and slow, or I'm going to be too sore to work out 2 days later. And if I'm too sore to work out 2 days later, I'm certainly not going to do that, or even come back 3 or 4 days later. So I've learned that I have to treat myself almost like a beginner again. But the really cool thing that I've seen, not just with myself, but others, is that we don't really lose strength. We have to wake it back up, but we don't really lose it. It's still there. So, there's a lot of folks that get anxious about sitting for too long or not doing enough for too long. You're not going to lose that strength. You're going to have to practice to get it back, but it's not going away.
I've never done any like huge competitions or anything, but I've been an athlete for most of my life. And the one thing that I always do first when I'm trying to get back into shape is go running. Now, running is very hard, very difficult, especially for somebody who doesn't do it regularly. And I'm actually asthmatic, so it's actually not the best way for me to do my fitness. And what I realized is that instead of jumping into cardio training, the best thing for me to do was literally to start with the foam roller and mobility exercises. Something like 5 to 15 minutes a day is enough. Like at the beginning of shelter in place, I spent a lot of time sitting. I'm sure like most of us did, sitting in front of a computer. And when you're an online trainer, you're in front of the computer all the time. So my body just needed to get loose and literally just start moving. So starting off with that was, I think, the key.
Nice. I have 2 stories around this. One was in college. I was always an athlete in high school. And then by the end of college, I was on the pizza and beer diet. And I think I had gained about 15, 20 pounds. And I went down to San Diego to work out with a buddy of mine who, we would do these workouts and we're kind of on the same level. And we were doing bear crawls. And I, like 5 feet, and I was exhausted. And this was like the epiphany for me. He looked at me and he just said, "Wow, you really let yourself go, didn't you?" And right then it hit me. I was like, wow, I really did. I would literally have a 6-pack of beer and a large Domino's pizza, probably 4 nights a week. It was horrible. I was just bored and like ready to be done with college. And it just was convenient, very, very easy. And then the second story was actually just like you, Nadia, like the start of COVID. March 15th, I think, was when I started training, and I was working out in my garage. And, when I was training people in person, I would stand, and walk around and see multiple angles to make sure I was getting their form right. And then I realized that I'm teaching these classes and I'm not just going to be able to sit there and talk. I have to do it. And so I teach 3 classes a day, 5 days a week. So from 7 to 10 in the morning, I was working out. And I do basically like Egoscue type stuff, like body weight. So it's sort of yoga-ish and, kind of like that. But it's still 3 hours of anything is hard. And it's amazing how slow my body really figured it out. It took at least 3 months before my body's like, okay, I can do 3 hours a day. Because before that, it was like work out hard. It's like kind of goes along with what all 3 of you are saying. Like, you can't just go from here, or like your grandma Nadia, and it's like, I'm going to walk this far. It's like there really is this micro progression. It's very, very tiny. And I realized that I just kind of bit off more than I could chew. And it took my body a long time to allow me to do that. It was very interesting. All right, more personal stuff. I have another question about all 3 of you and how you got started in the fitness industry. What was that story?
I never thought I would be a trainer. Actually, it's kind of funny. I trained horses when I was in high school. And I was very physically active, but not in sports because I was really uncoordinated, which is part of the reason I got into horses, because then I could think while they did the walking or running. Whereas if I did that, I'd have a tendency to fall down or run into something. But when I was in DC, I worked for Georgetown University. I was a medical researcher, and I was doing breast cancer research. And it almost seemed to be serendipitous when I moved to Raleigh and started a family and I had kids. I was back in the gym trying to work out, and I was, looking things up as a scientist, trying to figure out what works, how do they do this? And I attracted a group of people who, oh, what are you doing? Can I work out with you? They were all breast cancer patients. It was very strange, but of course I felt like, oh, I should really help them. And it still didn't occur to me that I should pursue being a trainer, because again, I'm like, I'm not in, I don't have a 6-pack. I'm not in, amazing shape. But I knew how to judge movement from the training horses. Believe it or not, that skill kind of transcends species, I guess. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed helping people get from, where they felt disabled to abled, and that was a really satisfying feeling. So I stuck with it.
Nice.
Yeah, I started again after having a family and just made a big career change. And I thought I want to do something I'm passionate about. And I loved athletics and sports and not your typical ones. I was more of the adrenaline junkie. I surfed and snowboarded and wakeboarded and things like that. But I got in the gym and realized very quickly how dysfunctional I was. I started doing the personal training certifications and I thought, well, my body doesn't move this way and I don't look this way, and what's wrong with me? And very quickly, my training turned from personal training into really corrective exercise, and how, like you, Chris, I got into Egoscue and still work with Egoscue. That's my main modality still. And then just many other forms of corrective-based exercise, and how to listen to your body.
Well, interestingly, I jumped ship from a career path as a professor. I was studying psychology. I was working on my doctorate in transpersonal psychology to become a researcher. And I realized that a life of sitting all day long actually did not fit my personality or my desires. And so I kind of like went on this search. I started to go to the gym. It was actually I won't go deep into it, but it was kind of a depressing time in my life. And I found that going to the gym actually just helped. I literally just walked on an indoor track every single day, and that's the only thing I did to work out. But at this gym that I went to, the indoor track was actually right next to the fitness studios. So I would walk around and I would see people working out, like doing fitness classes. And one day I just decided to stand outside the door. Try not to be like a creeper, you know, staring at everybody inside the room. But the instructor saw me. It was a kickboxing class, and the instructor, she invited me to come in. And I was feeling a little bit shy that day, so I didn't go that day, but I ended up coming back. And I ended up joining the class twice a week for the next few months. And one day I realized, like, this is so much fun. I get so much energy from being around other people who are working out. And I decided that I wanted to share that, my love of working out, with other people. And so I went on this path of becoming a fitness instructor, which eventually led me to becoming a personal trainer, and where I am today, to owning my own training business. I sort of dabbled in the weight loss game for a while because I got hired by a studio that specifically focuses on weight loss. So I really felt like I kind of lost my reason for getting into fitness until recently. And now I really just want to help women enjoy the process of creating a healthier lifestyle, to go from having some sort of pain from sitting down to being able to feel strong and mobile and happy. So, yeah.
That's great. Speaking of psychology, Nadia, and you were going down that path, so much of health and fitness is psychology and
Yeah.
mindset. Each of you, if you were to take a minute or two and detail what you feel is a winning psychology, that once you establish this psychology, it's sort of just one step in front of the other, and it almost, I don't want to say it becomes easy at that point, but there's definitely a difference between people who have that psychology and people who don't. And so what would that winning psychology be in your mind?
I always tell my trainees that I try to take this approach that they are a perpetual student and they are a student of their own body. I think the worst thing we can do to ourselves is compare ourselves to others, especially, the crazy Instagram trainers and here, look at me lift this gigantic weight. And you have no idea what their training background is or what led up to that, or if they could even do it in competition if they needed to. But more importantly, like, don't compare yourself to others. I have my clients keep training logs where they write down everything that they do, how they felt. So we can constantly look back on that and see where they made progress, because they don't always see that. For example, I had a woman that trained with me for a while. She came in extremely deconditioned. And I started her off doing push-ups off a bar in the squat rack because she couldn't even do them from her knees or from the floor. And she had brought her son to come in and work out with her one summer. And I had been slowly lowering the bar. I don't think she realized it. And then one day I gave them a workout to do together. And I told her, you're going to do regular push-ups. She's like, I can't do regular push-ups. I'm like, yes, you can. Go ahead. And sure enough, she was able to knock out 5. And she was, overwhelmed because it was just not something she ever thought that she could do. But then, we were able to write that down in her training log. And it was a huge accomplishment for her.
Yeah, I really agree with you. The competition thing needs, I think there's a healthy sense of competition within yourself, like you said, having, a goal and meeting a goal. But those goals take baby steps, and they're not going to be the same goals as other people's goals. And really, for me, the mindset is about sensing into your own body. Like, it was interesting, I think it was Nadia was saying, going for a run's not good for her. For me, going for a run resets my body. So everybody's, for my best friend, it's strength training resets her body. Everybody's going to be different in what their needs are, in their fitness goals, and just getting your mind around, you're not going to be like everybody else. You're going to be you, and whatever works for you is what works for you, and that's okay. So I really believe in what you were saying. Not judging, not competing with anybody, but potentially with yourself a little bit, hey, can I do this next little step forward, and taking action, yeah.
I think so many people believe that fitness has these health and fitness have these like defined rules and regulations, because that's what most people are consuming when they look for information about health and fitness. It's very specific. Like, this is how you lose weight. This is how you gain muscle. This is the exact thing you need to follow in order to achieve this goal. But for the general public, most people actually don't need anything that specific. And in my opinion, I think most people can benefit from knowing that there aren't any real rules to follow. There are things that are going to help you improve, and you have to find the way that's best for you. Like you were saying, Lisa, find what makes your body feel good and what's going to make you feel happy in the long run.
Nice. Absolutely. Well, we are out of time, but I want to give everyone a chance to tell the people watching how to get in touch with each of you in case anyone wants to contact you. Website, social media.
I have a Facebook page, havefungetstrong.com, and a blog on WordPress, which is havefun-getstrong.com. And I'm actually going to be launching my book campaign, I think early next week. And you should be able to find that on my Facebook page, and then also at my Instagram, which is Sarah Fleming _author. So hopefully you'll be able to find me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm alignedfit.com. If you look up Aligned Fitness, it's in Los Gatos. And I teach online Qigong, mind-body approach. I teach Agoscu and see clients individually for chronic pain symptoms, and foundation training for spinal decompression. And I just started a personal training group outside at the park. For the first time, I'm back to personal training.
Nice.
For the first time in 10 years, and I'm enjoying it. It is the highlight of my day.
Sweet.
Yeah.
People can find me at transformwithnadia.com, at transformwithnadia on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're on Twitter, I'm not most of the time, but in case you are, transformwnadia. I specialize in helping people alleviate pain from joint pain from too much sitting, and short workouts that you can do on your own time.
Nice. Well, I want to thank all three of you again, Sarah Fleming, Lisa Decker, and Nadia Santiago. Thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.